Okay, welcome back to V.I.P Lounge. My name is Ron.
Oh,
What's up, Ron?
welcome, Ron.
Thank you for having me.
I'm digging the pink shirt, by the way.
Is it pink? I don't know.
Yeah,
I
is it
could have
pink?
sworn I asked my girl to get orange.
Orange. Oh, that's
Salmon
far from
looking.
orange.
Okay. That's like a pomegranate. A pomegranate?
No, not peach.
No? Yeah.
I think we
You-
were
you,
both off.
I think I'm close, right? A pomegranate,
Closer.
maybe, yeah.
Closer. Want to say salmon? It's like
Salmon, okay,
salmon.
salmon,
Okay, I'll
alright.
take that.
Salmon.
Yes.
It
Do
looks
you
like
eat
you were
salmon?
eating salmon, yeah.
Since you brought it up,
What's that?
I burned myself yesterday.
Oh, you burned yourself? I thought
Yes.
that was ketchup, man.
Not herpes, none of that shit. No, my boy
Some
thought it was
hot-ass
ketchup.
pussy.
No, none of that shit. I just burned myself. I'm an idiot. I microwaved something for 20 seconds.
Okay.
Sat down on my couch. I thought I was all good. Took a bite. It was Nutella, all dripping right here. Ran into the bathroom, like, but now I'm good.
And it was too late.
Mind you, I have 2 weddings this weekend, but
Ooh.
Yikes.
it's alright. I'll be
Alright.
fine.
The pictures are gonna come out perfect.
You're gonna,
I'm gonna have to.
You're gonna stand out.
That's right.
You're gonna look different.
I have to.
That's the worst. When you ever eat like a hot pizza or something and the cheese, it lands right there.
I don't mind that.
Or your tongue.
Nah, but when it's burning hot, like
Yeah, that's bad. That's bad.
Or your tongue, or like you're craving coffee so bad, like me, or even a pizza. Like I'm not patient enough to like wait for it to like. Yeah, I'm hungry.
I'm
That's
the
why I
same
came
way.
for the slice. Or that's why I'm craving that coffee. And you go, whoop. You
I'm the
drink
same
it,
way.
and it surprises you.
and you burn, or you guys ever burn like your throat?
Ooh.
All the time when I
And
drink tea.
not with alcohol, 'cause that always burns my throat.
The shot.
No, I drink. So I stopped drinking coffee every day. So I started drinking tea.
Okay.
So with coffee, for some reason, when you buy it off the trucks, but the little walk from the truck to work,
Mm-hmm.
it kind of cools down. So after like I have a microwave, reheat it, whatever. But tea stays hot.
Yeah.
So that first sip was like, oh, okay, nah, I'm leaving that shit right here.
Do you carry around? My bad. Do you carry around like a thermos?
No,
no.
I'm not.
You one of those people?
No, I'm not one of those people.
And does it burn in the tongue or the throat?
Either or, it depends on you like.
How
You
you-
chug it. If you chug it, then it'll be your throat. If you take a little sip, it's gonna be right here.
Right there. Okay.
So, in the spirit of Halloween, do you like pumpkin tea, or
I do
is
not.
that even a thing?
Do
Pumpkin
not.
spice tea?
That or candy corn, no.
No. He
No.
listens to our
Doesn't
podcast.
matter. Yeah, pumpkin anything is
Yeah.
Not
It's
even
off the
pumpkin
table.
beer.
Nothing. I don't even like pumpkin pie, pumpkin anything.
yeah.
Okay.
Nothing with pumpkin, no.
Anything pumpkin flavored is just it shouldn't exist.
Many might disagree.
I'm gonna say this. I never tried anything. I'm one of those people. I'm like a picky eater,
Mhm.
so I wouldn't be against trying it just because I never tried
You're
it.
right.
But it
But
doesn't sound appealing.
I've tried some pumpkin things, so that's so
Like-
if that was nasty, anything else pumpkin is
But
gonna
give me
be
an
nasty
example
as
of
well.
something pumpkin that you tried. Clearly not beer because you're not into beer.
I think someone gave me
A
from
latte?
Starbucks.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever, a latte, a pumpkin latte or whatever it was. And it's just gross. And then I remember being younger, you mentioned before pumpkin seeds.
Uh-huh.
Those
Yeah,
those-
that I don't
those
find the
really,
purpose
they're
of-
salty, but they don't really taste like anything.
Or what are you actually biting? Because the sunflower seed, you bite into it and then you take out the seed. But I feel like you're so stuck on the saltiness of a
Mhm.
pumpkin seed. Que tú te desesperas, ya you just want to
Not,
spit it
not
out.
everybody bites into it and takes out the little seed.
Yeah.
Everybody just
They
bites into the whole shit and spit it out.
Yeah.
People, yeah, there should be a formal way of having seeds.
What
For
do you-
eating seeds.
What do you mean?
Because I feel like a lot of people just throw a whole bunch of them in the mouth,
Mhm.
suck out the saltiness, and just kind of bite and spit out. You can throw a lot in your mouth, but know how to play around with it, like how to bite into it, take out the
Nah, it's
seed,
true.
eat it.
I do that all the time. Like I have one side full of seeds that I just
then
let
you-
it soak, and then the other side I eat the actual seed inside.
So bad. I feel like sunflower seeds is kind of like burning your mouth and your throat. Like your mouth gets numb of all that saltiness, or like sour Skittles, like the
Yeah, if you
roof
eat
of
too
your
much
mouth,
of it, yeah.
gets
Your
kind
gums.
of. But talking about your mouth, you do a lot of good things with your mouth.
Hey, oh, whoa,
Whoa.
where does this conversation go?
We're talking about audio.
Ron,
We're talking about audio.
Ron is a podcaster himself. Tell us a little bit about that.
Not so experienced, maybe a couple of years in, on and off.
Okay.
But you know, you guys do your thing. I do my own thing, but with sports. Started off as a sports podcast, switched it over to focus on fantasy sports.
Fantasy sports.
So I don't know if you know anything about that stuff, but it's a niche. Like there's only a certain amount of people that play it. It's not everybody. Listen, you watch sports, and if you get into fantasy, it's a whole different level of watching sports.
It's like sports and beers and wings and just watching it just to be in coro, and in fantasy, like where you go hard.
This is an addiction.
Where you go hard.
Like I literally, I'm a Mets fan, Knicks fan, Giants fan.
I don't know why I haven't.
Okay,
I'm
you
at
had
the
me a Knicks
studio.
fan, but then you
The
said
Mets.
Right. So years ago, I used to not watch football like that. To be honest with you, I just used to watch my teams, whatever. But then I started like my boys were like, "Yo, I play fantasy. I play baseball and basketball." But when they put me onto football's a different level of fantasy.
Yeah.
Like this shit is no joke. And I noticed that the first year I'm like, all right, I gotta keep up with these dudes if I want to do any good. And years passed, and I kept playing it. I was like, damn, I was doing really bad. I'm not gonna lie, I suck. But I got good at it, and then it became a thing where it was like people were just like, yo, like you should talk about this kind of thing. Like, why are you not doing your own podcast? Like between me and my boys, we always have lunch together, talk shit. You know, like what you watch on TV. And my boy was like, yo, like, you're slacking. Like, where's the podcast? Like, you're not doing it. Because this podcast started more like 10 years ago, let's say, give or take. Joe Rogan. One of the first ones I listened to was Joe Rogan.
Okay.
And then from there, it was like, I listened to like 20 different podcasts. And that's all I listen to on the train.
Okay.
Like, that kills my commute with listening to 1 or 2 shows. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. But it took a while for me to feel confident enough to do it. Because once you start doing it, that's it, forget it. It's fair game for everybody to be like, yo, your shit is whack, your shit is good, whatever it is. And so once I started doing it, it was good. I learned a lot when I first started doing it. It was about sports, but then I got to a point where it was like a couple of things. It was like, why are people listening to me talking about sports? There's so many other shows on TV. There's a bunch of podcasts about sports. So I'm like, what can I do to separate myself? So for me, it was that, fantasy sports. Like, if you look at me, I'm Hispanic. I'm from the hood. Like, you wouldn't think of me as someone that's into fantasy sports. If you were to Google or look into any other kind of fantasy sports, it's all blanquitos. It's all the gringos. So I was like, all right, that's one thing right there. Then I'm like, yo, I'm so, in a sense, the Fantasy Sports Fiend, that's the title of my podcast, fiend out. Like, you're so addicted to this that you do all these things that makes you a fiend. So I gamble as one sports. I'm not saying I'm rich, because I'm not, but I do that every week. So that's a thing that's like, that separates people, like fantasy sports and gambling. So that's my thing. And so, again, you go online, social media, the hardest thing to do is engage people. Again, for me, like I haven't won anything in particular. Like I can't say I won a fantasy football championship. So you're like, yo, listen to me, I won a fantasy football.
Not yet, at least.
But I know people that have. I know people that are really good at it. I play with them. We've been doing this now 10 years. So it's like, it's experience. It's like there is knowledge there, but I'm trying to keep it like fun, but also I don't. So the thing with the gringos is that they're very analytic, a lot of data,
and you give your own.
I'm not into that shit. Like the worst thing you could do is read too much information. Like the way to play for me is to have fun and just have it as like a hobby, to make it more enjoyable to watch football or any other sport. It's just an extra thing added to it.
So how do you do it then? You said the gringos, they look at data or the logistics, whatever. Like, how do you make it fun for you?
I keep it simple. Like for me, like the one thing I've learned over the years, and I had to learn this the hard way because it became a thing in my relationship or just in general where it's like, yo, you're going too hard. Like your attention is too much into this. Like you're paying too much like to the games. Like, all right, fine. Like you want to be home on a Sunday? Cool. But at the end of the day, it's like, yo, like, your attention is too much. And so it used to affect my way of feeling. So imagine, like, you lose a close matchup. Let's say on Monday night. Today is Monday night. We're recording this. And I'm in a close matchup and I lose by, like, a point. I'll be, like, stressed the fuck out watching the game. Then I'll hold that shit like, oh, I fucking lost.
And then we'll drag out.
And the whole week until I get my next matchup or whatever it is. Depending on what sport or what bets you're doing. But yo, that shit was a real thing, and I've had to learn over the years to not let it affect my emotions. And like, like at the end of the day, it's like, yo, you do this shit for fun. You do this shit with your friends. Like, there's no need for to us to be like putting each other down or to be thinking like, yo, you're dumb, your team sucks. Like, yeah, you could talk shit, but not to the point where it's like, yeah, like
no, it's after the game already finished. Don't keep talking shit.
Oh no, but listen, some people ask for it. Like, I'm known as a little troll. Like, I like to tease people, but I tease the people they take it too seriously. That kind of thing. Like, I'm that person. Like, yo, like, you taking this shit too seriously, I'm gonna bring you down.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna bring you down because it's not that serious. Let's have fun with this. You lose, you lose. You have no control of these players. You have no control what the coaches want to do.
And that's a funny thing too, the not having control, because he inspired me to start my own fantasy league, and I did.
For football too?
Yeah, so I'm on a league for fantasy football.
Nice.
One, because it's kind of like a starter at where I work at. It's a sports industry, so I got to like have that starting point. So I remember we were watching the game, the first game together, and I was up 46 points my first game, and I'm like, yo, I got this. People were watching my lineup, and they're like, yo, you have amazing players. You didn't do this yourself. And I'm like, I sure didn't. Like, he helped me out.
I helped you, but hold on a second. And I told them that day, right? I was like, I also didn't draft. Like, I forgot about it. Like, I'm like, oh shit. You know, I was getting a haircut or something.
You got the players automatically?
No, yeah, it was auto draft. Like the computer was making the first like 6-7 picks. Then I took over from there. But then
like people were looking at my players like, you did not do this, Marielle. I'm like, I couldn't keep a straight face. I'm like, but you mad because I got a good team. So my first 2 weeks, I think we're on week 5, 6.
This is week 6.
Week 6. Okay,
week 6.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, week 6.
Week 6.
Week
so my Spanglish not very good looking. So the first 2 weeks I lost, and I'm like, yo, like.
First 3 weeks.
No, the first 2. I only got 2 hours.
I think.
Yeah, we gotta double check that.
I think it was the first 3, and I was just like, shit, I'm looking bad here. Like, I'm helping her out, and like it's not looking good. And then.
But then after, you know what?
And I said this. I'm like, yo, this is the thing. So, where you can't get upset about it because you could have the highest scoring, like in total, like be consistent, but you could be playing against somebody that just outscored you that week. Okay. It's a weekly game. So, like, there's a lot of randomness and, like luck to it.
Yeah.
So, like, as much as you think you know everything, it doesn't matter. Because, like, you know, somebody could get hurt. The coach could just be like, yo, I don't want to play this guy right now. So, you're not getting no points.
That's true.
You can't control that stuff. So, week to week, you could have the strongest team and you could still lose every week. And your record is going to be the reflection of you, but not really.
But what I like about your podcast is, like, you drop right before football the football week starts.
Right.
So I can go there and listen and be like, yo, you know, like you were speaking about this player, so obviously I might want to bench him out or I might want to play him. So it's kind of like a guidance in a way before I start up my lineup.
Yeah, so yesterday, I usually on Sunday mornings, maybe Saturday, depending on if I'm free or not, whatever, I'll try to go on Twitter and IG, be like, yo, like whoever has any questions, hit me up. And it's a hard thing because, yo, most of the time, yo, if you're wrong, like when they ask you questions,
I blame him for my first 3
you're
hours.
You're gonna be like, yo, dude, it was your fault, and it's like, yo, dude, like you're on Twitter, you're asking for help. Like, how is that my fault? Like, you have your own. At the end of the day, you got to make your own decision.
That's true.
Just follow your gut, and my best advice right now is keep it simple. Okay. Like, if somebody is hurt, just plug in the next guy that's there. They got projections. Just go with the next person with projections.
Do you get a lot of engagement? Like,
read the last. I try to seek it out, so I go to like the hashtags and just be like, nice. All right, this person needs help. Let me hit them up. I'll answer the question. Yeah, I'll answer the question and be like, oh, this is the question you have. I'm gonna answer it. It's my opinion. At the end of the day, but you make your decision. But people are gonna hold you to it. Like, you know, yesterday I was on fire. Everybody hit me up. Whatever I told them, shit fucking hit. I'm like, fuck that. I'm gonna post that. I'm gonna post it that I was like on fire. But then I'm joking about it now because I know next week I could be wrong for everybody. Be like, yo, you're gonna blame me next week. You love me right now, but you're gonna blame me next week.
Okay, so you said in the past, like you used to let it consume you.
Yeah.
And you did mention as well that you're in a relationship.
Yes.
So did at one point did that affect your relationship?
Absolutely. I mean, even to this day, like not to want to offend her, but like, yo, like I've gotten better at it. Like I've learned, like, all right, bro, like you don't have to be like just in social media in general. You know how that shit goes. Like in general, like being on it too much, I've learned to like, all right, you don't have to be on that shit all the time. So like I try to just go on social media like my commute, my lunch break, like not like while I'm at work. Like I used to be on work, like yo, like every like 15, 20 minutes, I'd be like, yo, I gotta check
and stuff.
Nah, just be on Twitter, reading mad shit on Twitter, looking at IG, whatever it is. So like in general, but fantasy, like no legit, like I've won. I can say this, like people are following my podcast. I won fantasy basketball and baseball this year.
Oh,
So I'm like, yo, thank you. I'm like, yo, part of it, and I told my boys this, I'm like, yo, like, it's not to say that I couldn't win before. I've always, followed, I play, I pay attention, I'm active, but there was something to me doing the podcast and preparing every week for the podcast that I was doing, like, more research, paying more attention. That shit helped. That shit had to help. Like, I got to give credit to that, because how could it not help? So right now I'm in 8 leagues. Football leagues, I want to say at the top of my head. I think I'm in 8 leagues.
Because the first, I'm only in 1, and I'm like, I bug out on Thursdays and Sundays right before it starts. I'm like, should I change anything up? Like, I'll ask my customers, I'm like, oh, you play fantasy? And I kind of like, I've done this once where like I just hand them the phone and I'm like, just kind of like, at your discretion, change it up. Yeah. And let's see if I actually win or not. And then it turns out we actually win, but like, my boy, I saw him a couple of days ago. He's there like making his decision. It was like we're like at a kids party the other day, and he's there like with his daughter. He's like, "There's a kicker, freaking kicker, bro." He was just like, "Yo, like I don't know what to pick up." Blah, blah, blah. So he's there telling his daughter, "Yo, which of these names?" Like which, and I'm like, "Yo, that's the best thing to do about it. Don't overthink it yourself. Like don't stress. It's not that. It's like at the end of the day, whatever happens, happens. You live with the decision. You lose. If you win, good. Like at times. So I was gonna say like with relationship wise, like I've had to learn because this shit used to like I learned from other people basically. So I've learned that like on the low, people are like yo, like when you beat them, like let's say by like 2 points, it's a heartbreaker. Like yo, fuck, I lost by 2 points or whatever. And I've heard through the grapevine that one of my boys was fucking like depressed. Like I'm like, yo, like what the fuck happened? Like his girlfriend was asking around, like, yo, what happened? And so it went around like, oh, he lost to Ronnie. Oh, blah blah blah. Because I'm not gonna lie, I troll a little bit. Well, I don't tease people that like if they can't take jokes, I won't do it to them kind of thing. Like I'm not gonna lie, like I felt bad when it happened. I'm like, damn, like I'm not gonna get on him now that he lost. I felt bad. I'm like, yo, if it was the other way around, I wouldn't want it to happen to me. Like, but it's also like a thing, like with guys, like isn't it like, or even like females, like if we play sports, at the end of the day, it's kind of good sportsmanship, good game. But at the end of the day, you're not gonna stop from celebrating. You're not gonna stop from like being like, yo, like you could have caught that out, but you didn't.
You gotta have experience, like he mentioned.
Now, this particular like, situation, like the dude, like he doesn't like. There's people that they won't admit it, but they're sensitive, right? So it's like they can't take jokes, and it's like I'm like, and I just felt like, yo, it was the other way around. And the funny shit was that his brother was like, yo, fuck that. Like, fuck that. Like, if it was the other way around, he'd be talking shit. And I'm like, nah, bro. Like, that shit was like, ooh, last minute, like a late touchdown. Like, I mean, the points and like, I was like, nah, I wouldn't want it done to me, so I'm not going to say nothing. But, like.
You're a good person.
To me,
I've
learned, like, yo, you can't control it. The points is, like, I don't know how else to explain it. Like, I'm learning over the years. I used to take it very seriously a few years ago. I was like, too much. Like, as far as, like, when I would lose, and imagine football is once a week, as far as like the thing, so you have to wait a whole week for the next game or whatever. Like it's not as like a daily thing. So
but I like that it's 3 games in 1 week, so you got Monday, Thursday, and Sunday.
Right.
So you still have a chance, kind of, to change it up if you wanted in between the week.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the whole thing too. Like when I'm teaching people, like you're new, right? So like one of the things is no, like so. I have like a pet peeve. Like people don't pay attention. Like it's like the other day, like one of my boys is like he got home. He was hungover. There was a 9:30 a.m. game. It's rare, but it happens once in a blue. And I'm in a group chat. I'm like, yo, you guys gotta get up by like 9ish
to change up your line.
Yeah, like if you got somebody in there that's hurt and not playing, then you're gonna get a 0. Yes. So you want to switch it up. Like I don't want that to be an excuse why you lose.
So like my first week, I was bragging. I'm like, yo, everybody at the job was depressed, or como que whatever. Like either they were doing really good or really bad. It's my first week of fantasy, so I'm like keeping up with it. I had like 46 points on a Thursday, and it's mid-game. So I'm like, yo, I got this. Sunday came, got caught up because obviously he had more players on Sundays. And then Monday came, and I'm not even paying attention to it because at this point I'm like, I got this. Like I got 46 points the first night. Loco, why he beat me by like 5 points that Monday night?
I
First hour, and I'm like,
I literally hit her up and I'm like, listen, you just got a taste of what it feels
don't
like.
get discouraged.
So,
yes.
What advice would you like? Let's say I want to start a football fantasy league right now, or anybody else out there that wants to start. Like, what advice would you?
I mean, it helps to be a fan of the sport because you're already watching it, so you already got like a heads up of like who the players are, that kind of thing.
And the thing is that it's not by, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's not by teams, it's by players,
Right.
which is different.
Right.
Like, if me, like, I go hard for Yankees.
Right.
So I always want the Yankees to win.
You picked the whole Yankee
But-
lineup. And you
No,
think
listen,
so?
there's people like that.
But as a fantasy, it's like, no, like, I don't like the Mets or I don't like the Boston, but I
It's a
can't
business.
deny that they're good players, so I need them in
Of
my
course.
fantasy. And that's some people don't understand that.
That's a
it's by
great point.
players.
That's a great point. It's a business. I'm a Giants fan. But if Ezekiel Elliott on the Cowboys is going to get me fantasy points and he's a beast,
You gotta
I'm gonna
pick
draft
him.
him.
You gotta pick him up.
Yeah, yeah.
Tom Brady.
so she's right. There's people like that. As much as people don't want to admit it, and even my friends that they're like, no, there's a little bit of biasness to your who you decide to put in your lineup. You're gonna be like, I'm gonna put this Jet. The Jets suck, but I'm gonna put this play in the Jets. And it's like they're gonna do it because they're a Jet fan.
Right.
Like even if there's better options on their bench or whatever, the people do that. But yeah, you being a fan of the sport helps. But at the end of the day, it's like for me, it's a hobby, right? So it's like something to do on the side of watching the sport. Just it's fun for me. Like I know there's people out there that probably don't watch the sport. You don't need to be like really into the sport. To be honest with you, like I know people that do it with their coworkers. It's just a thing to do with their coworkers. They have a league at work. I'm gonna do it. They might get help from outside sources, whatever. But you could just do it. You could literally let the computer draft the team for you. Just plug in your lineup, and I've seen this happen with people that I played with before in the past.
And they get lucky.
They don't pay attention. They might leave people and not in their lineup or anything and still win because it's a little luck and randomness to it. But there's like an enjoyment to watching. Like you watch, like you probably experience like, oh my god, my player's doing good. There's something to it. You could watch a game that you wouldn't normally watch, two sucky teams, and never pay attention to it ever. But because you're playing fantasy, you
have to like kind of watch that
my
game.
player's playing, like you just root for your player.
So the first time I got introduced to like fantasy, I was with a friend, and he was superstitious to the point where like we had to wear the same outfit every Sunday, drink the same champagne, mimosas, to like we needed to sit down, like so superstitious. And he would overthink it. He would be like, yo, but like they're saying this, like right before the games, they got that whole commentary thing, blah blah. And I'm like, yo, don't change it. Just keep it like that. If you have that gut feeling, whatever, don't change it. Let's keep on doing everything else the same. And the friend ended up like winning that whole like season. But okay, it's all about like if you overthink it too much, I think you're just gonna like.
Yeah, the worst thing, that's my advice from the last few years. Is I have friends, whether it's because they're potheads or whatever the fuck it is, they don't overthink shit. They're just like, whatever. Plug this guy in, whatever happens, and they do well. Like I learned. When I overthink and I end up having the guy that I put in do worse than the guy at my bench, and I'm like, yo, why do I do this to myself?
Right.
It's fucking stressful for no reason.
Are you superstitious at all? Like you wear the same underwear?
I just told, I was telling no. I told my boy, like one of my boys right now is frustrated. He's doing horrible.
Mm-hmm.
And he's usually great. I give him credit. And I nicknamed him the Goatie, like as in the GOAT, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yo, like dude, like even if you do horrible this year and you in last place, it's not going to mean nothing. Like, it literally won't mean nothing. But superstitious, no, I just, like, literally, I talk my shit regardless. Like, I like to do little, like, photos of, like, me versus whoever I'm playing against. So I used to change my team name to whatever is going against their team name.
Okay.
Just to talk shit.
Yeah.
Like,
You are a
like,
good
you know
troll.
what?
That's not funny.
I used to do audios in the group chats. Like, yo, like, like, you watch UFC, the guy that does the introductions. I used to do the introductions, like, yo, it's me versus this guy.
That was my
And we're going to go against each other this way. I'm going to whip your ass, whatever. Like, just talk shit. Like, to me, it's like, it just make it fun.
Make it fun while you're doing it.
Would you guys watch it together? Or
so
just be on
that's the beauty of this. Like, I've met guys over the years through social media. I've met you too as well.
Mm-hmm.
Where, like, because they're into the sport, fantasy, whatever it is that, mostly through Twitter, honestly. And, through New York, I'm from New York. Oh, you want to join my league? All right, fine, I'll do your league, do my league. And then you link up with them and you're like, yo, like.
And then you end up being in 8 leagues.
Over the years, it's insane. Like, I've always told myself to cut down and I can never, I can't help it. Like, I donate most of the time. Like if I'll be lucky if I break even, to be honest with you. I'll be lucky if I break even. But to me, I'm telling myself, like, whatever amount of fees I'm paying, I'm paying for a hobby. I have fun with it. It's therapeutic for me. It gives me something to focus on besides the podcast and all that stuff. So it helps me. But other people, I've met them and it's like, yo, like they go hard.
They take it to another
They
level.
go hard. And I've met a lot of people over the years and it's like, yo, I would have never met these people without like this. Like you would go to baseball games to meet people, but like this is different. Like it is camaraderie. You meet people like, oh shit, like people that are like me. Like when I first started playing fantasy baseball, this was like 15, 16 years ago. I was like 18, 19 years old. And my boy put me on. It was just a thing to do at work. I used to work in a hotel. I used to work overnights. That time. It's like, fuck it. Look at my shit. And then over time, like, yo, this is something now that I meet other people that are like so into sports that this is what we do. We're pretending to have our own team and play with each other kind of thing. You know, it's like a hidden thing.
You said 15 years ago. So how long ago, more or less, was like fantasy like invented?
Oh my God. So way back when, and I want to say the 80s.
Really?
So the way they used to do it way back when was like, let's say it's us three, let's say 6 of us in total. They would go to the news, they'll create their own scoring because every league could be different. It's however they want to do the scoring form or whatever. They used to just go to the newspaper and get the stats and be like, yo, this guy, he has a home run, 4 points, a triple, 3 points, and like just do the math and be like, yo, I won this, we got like that's how it was back in the days with the newspaper and shit. In like the 90s, it became a thing where you could go online.
And what you use, DraftKings?
No, so like for like the leagues itself, it's ESPN or Yahoo.
Yeah.
DraftKings and FanDuel are like for like tournaments and like daily fantasy. That's what they call them, or gambling now. They have out in Jersey. Or
have you ever done any of this?
Oh yeah, that's like the second part of my.
Yeah, Jose, he's a type that would drive to Jersey just to place the bet and drive back.
And thankfully now,
that's hilarious.
Unfortunately, my boy had to move to Jersey for unforeseen, like different reasons I don't want to mention right now. But he lives in Jersey now, so now I have somebody there.
Okay.
To be like, yo, listen, I don't want to make the drive. Can you just put these bets in for me?
But there's really people out there that drive out to Jersey, come right back.
Do you
just
have
to place
a man cave?
I do not. So I live with my girlfriend. I don't have my own like space per se, but if I have my own crib, I would love to have a man cave. Yeah,
of course.
Okay. So you say your favorite fantasy leagues is like football. Like, so when it's time for the Super Bowl, are you just as excited as a regular like football game, or like the Super Bowl is your ultimate?
By the time the Super Bowl though, it's already like past the fantasy football season. Mm-hmm. So like it finishes for the regular season. So like whatever, 17, 18 weeks, it's over. Like your season with your friends or whatever. So when it's Super Bowl season, like the Super Bowl, then we get to like gambling or Super Bowl boxes. I don't know if you guys seen like that kind of stuff. So it's like you based on the score, somebody could win with the whatever digits of the score is.
I went to Hooters one time and I saw a bunch of gringos, like you guys said, literally at Hooters, like have a big ass. That was wild.
So that's a different type of, but that's literally gambling. You're just like paying for like a box. Yo, these numbers gotta pop up, and I hope I win money kind of thing. It's the same kind of thing. Though.
Okay.
That was wild. So, what's your favorite like snacks to eat during
wings?
Wings.
Is the thing, yeah.
Yeah. Like, what kind of wings? And bone in or boneless?
No, bone in. So, and there used to be a spot in Queens called Miller's. Had the best lemon pepper wings. And they closed down during the pandemic. Which sucks. That used to be the spot, because there's not every spot that shows like all the games. Because when we go there, we're like, yo, we don't want to just like, yeah, we're Giants fans, Jets fans, but we don't want to just see those games. We want to see all the games. We want to be able to see games. So that spot used to have all the games, those lemon pepper wings.
Were the shit.
They were the shit.
And would you say that's your favorite appetizer of all time?
Yeah. Yeah, and everybody from my neighborhood that used to go there, they know, like, yo, like, we miss it. Like, we trying to find a place to replace it, and it hasn't.
Yeah. And it makes a difference, boneless and bone-in, guys. I don't want to see a guy eat boneless wings.
I mean, a guy could eat boneless wings. Just don't prefer boneless over bone-in. Because if there's no boneless wings, I'm not gonna eat them.
That's true.
You gotta eat it. You don't fuck with mozzarella sticks?
I do. I like not a lot of spots have good ones though. Like like melty and
Have you ever seen mozzarella like be made from scratch? Nah. It's crazy. It's like a string cheese. You dip it in egg and flour, and then you just fry it. Like I thought it was a whole different process.
So some places don't have that like crispiness to it.
Crispiness.
Like it's just like mad soggy. I'm like,
Yeah.
nah,
The thing, the caca that comes off and it's just, even though I don't mind, like, it's just
yeah,
cheese,
no, I don't mind breaded.
Yeah.
I like breaded food. Apanado, I fuck with it.
Okay. Breaded
Okay.
empanadas.
All right, damn. What would be my ideal? Oh, you know what I had recently? The buffalo chicken dip. So it's kind of like, you know, like blue cheese and a little bit of chicken, but made into like this sauce. And then you take tortilla chips and you dip it in, and then like it's kind of like buffalo chicken dip.
Okay.
So it's a dip.
It has to be like shredded chicken.
Yeah, like kind of shredded, but it's not even like, it's more of a sauce more than chunks of chicken.
Gotcha.
But it's like tortilla chips instead of like a spinach and artichoke or anything else salsa. It's spicy with the chips.
Spinach artichoke go hard though. I like
Yeah,
spinach.
go hard. Unless they do it like really salty, and I'm just like, fuck, what am I eating? Like,
That sounds good. I feel like I tried that before. Like with the shredded chicken, like it's in there.
Yeah.
So you guys watch the games at bars, or you host like events at your crib?
A little bit of both. So like, it's hard to get everybody together.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, maybe like every other week I go to a bar. We usually do like one league that I'm in. We get together for the draft. Like we have a board.
Okay, that's
We
dope.
have the stickers. Like,
Before
hey,
you start the draft.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
have everything set up where it's like, yo, like we're doing a live draft. Everybody's together. So that's one league. But otherwise, like I'm not gonna lie, like it's hard to get everybody together. I will always like try to. I'm in 8 leagues, so like to get everybody. But like my main league that I've been with these guys for like 10 plus years, we try to get together, but it's hard right now, especially pandemic or whatever.
Have you gone to a live football game?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I haven't gone.
No, I want to go too.
Yeah, like how is that experience?
It depends on the team, because if your team
You're a
sucks,
Giants fan, right?
yeah, you know, if it hasn't been.
It's kind of like going to a Mets game. Like the Mets suck. You don't really want to go to their game.
Right. So football for me, like football stadiums, like there's nothing to the stadium. Like at least if you go to a Mets game,
No,
at
Mets
City
Stadium,
Field,
it's a good
it's
stadium.
an experience, even if for food or just like the surrounding areas. But like Yankee Stadium, it's memorabilia and stuff like that. But it's nothing like fun to do around
that.
That
I
kind
do
of thing.
give you. The Mets
Besides
is
the game
different.
itself, football is boring in that sense. But the tailgate. That shit is popping. So you get there with a group of people, and you get there like at fucking 9 a.m.
That's wild.
By the time 1 p.m. that game starts, you're walking in there incendio.
Everyone is drunk in there.
Done. I've been to games where I'm like, yo, why did I fucking
Why'd
I
you
want to
come?
stay outside. I didn't want to go to the game now.
Right,
at that point,
right.
kind of shit.
Has it ever gotten aggressive? Like whether it was at the bar in your house and at the football game, like you were so passionate about the game, or you're
Nah, I've avoided those games where it's like rivalries, like
Kind of
Giants,
like the
Eagles,
Yankee,
yeah, like
Boston.
yeah. I feel like I can't do that. Like, and I'm a calm person, so I don't like I avoid conflict. But like all my friends are like that, so like I know that any little shit. Imagine you there drunk, the littlest shit you get into an argument,
And you see other people like going through fights. Like it doesn't necessarily have to be you. Like I've been in the old stadium with the Yankee in Boston when they really used to go like hard. Like they still go hard, but that I would see like people like 3 seats down, just like fighting, and the cops would have to come and escort them out, and I'm just like,
they've been popping up all up on
I was just doing, doing the wave.
Yeah.
Fighting like that's like a thing now. People are like,
I saw
fuck that.
some people were watching soccer and
Bro,
That's
you
the
get
one
fist
for
like, real fights.
different color. Like they had blue shirts, red shirts, green shirts, and they were just all.
I can't.
Yeah.
To this day, like I have friends that like to like poke me, like the Mets suck. Just like right, the Mets were like in first place for like 3-4 months. Fucking blew it. They suck. And they kind of like try to like, I'm like, yo, like I'm not like when I was little, I used to bother me. Like if they suck, they suck. Like you're not gonna get me
But
to
you're
get riled
loyal.
up.
You're loyal.
Yeah, for
You're
sure,
loyal.
for sure.
Like you're not gonna leave the Mets because they suck.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's a different type of fan that I am, but not everybody's like that. You know, the LeBron fans, they go for LeBron goals kind of thing. But for me, that's you're not gonna get me with that. Like it takes a lot for me to get like, yo, now we're gonna have to fight. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay, so what gets you like that?
It would take a lot, man. You have to get personal. You know, put your hands on my mom's kind of shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that. Like you're not gonna get me with words. Like words are words. You know.
Okay. You said you like baseball, basketball, football. What about hockey?
Nah, see, like, so with my show, I'm not gonna lie, like, I would keep it strictly those 3 sports. Talk about a little bit of boxing, MMA, more so with the gambling aspect of it. Like, you know, if you bet this much money, how much you can win. If it's a knockout with, like, Wilder and Fury fought a couple of weeks ago, like it had like different like kind of odds.
Yeah.
Or like, yo, if you get to knockout, you get this much money. If you bet 100, like that kind of stuff. But those are the sports. Like a lot of people hit me up, like, yo, when you gonna talk about this? It's like, yo, listen, I don't fuck with those sports. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Hockey, man, I lie. Hockey is dope as fuck in one person.
Have you been to a hockey game before?
In college, I've seen. Like,
I feel like those are really like intense. Like,
and they were
in person is
similar to like professionals, but they were good. It was
and it's
fun
the one
to
sport
watch.
where they let them get it on.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, I haven't called one in person, but I went to like 2 games, and I'm like, yo, like I'm not allowed. Like, the in-person experience is dope.
Okay.
But I can't like follow a team and like the players. Like I don't know. It's like the sport where you can't really do that.
The one sport I cannot watch, and I don't think there's gonna be anything to drive me into it. Soccer. And people be like, oh, baseball. Like I speak to people that are like into soccer heavy, and they're like, oh, but baseball is boring. Baseball, it's not boring, my friend. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate. And I love baseball. So baseball is my first love.
Okay.
But baseball has a thing where they stick too much to the old school way of doing things. So if you watch the World Baseball Classics, you see how the players are engaged with their home country, and they're you know, home run, boom, showing all talking shit. But during the season, if you do shit like that, you're gonna get hit with they're gonna throw a ball right
like,
in your head.
It's like basketball.
Makes no sense to me. So, but baseball is type long. They're working on that. Soccer, again, it's like a thing where if your country's in it, so like if DR was in it, we'll be into that shit.
Yeah.
We'll be into that shit, but they're not in it.
I just feel like it takes too long to score a point.
It is, but
and
that
the field
makes
is
it
huge.
But it makes it that much more like when they do score is a fucking big deal.
Because hockey is the same way. It takes long, but I feel like it's more condensed. And I feel like it's more fun. I mean, I actually haven't been to a soccer, maybe in college as well, to a soccer game. But I don't know. I can't get in that groove.
It's like me. I put myself in the scenario where like I remember we used to play like soccer for middle school and in high school as a gym sport. I'm halfway down the gym court and I'm out of breath.
You already got that. No, I mean, there's strategy too. I'm the same way. I wasn't a big fan of soccer. A couple of years ago, got into it a little bit because of the country shit, right? Like, I'm half Ecuadorian, so Ecuador's in the tournament versus Colombia. I got Colombian friends just to talk that shit. It's like, all right, you could kind of learn. The shit that gets me, like, bugged out about soccer is offsides. Like, if you pass the ball too soon, they go call offside. It's like,
I don't know.
like,
so
it's kind of like throwing a flag in football.
Yeah, but it's like because you ran past the defensive player. Like, there has to be at least one defensive player ahead of you. So it's like a little, like, I'm like, why is that? Like,
you got to give them a chance.
So anything is what you know. So if you grow up knowing the sport and the rules, you're gonna know what's dope or not about the sport. Like, baseball, if you're not into it from young, you're not gonna like that shit. If you just get into it like as a 20-year-old, you know, you just not.
Or even I was talking about the other day. So I like randomly joined these like volleyball leagues, and volleyball has been my favorite sport. I've played volleyball and softball, but volleyball I didn't know there was a thing. Like I would just like I'm a good server, and I know we rotate, but I didn't know there was a whole process where like you're always the second one to hit the ball, like because you know it's pass, whatever, over. Like, make sure that's always the person to do the second pass or whatever. Like, there's positions in volleyball that I didn't know about. It was just kind of me, like, I'm a good server. I want to serve. And I know I rotate my way around. If the ball is coming to me, I'll make sure to either pass it to my teammate or over just so I can get that point. I didn't know there were positions. So it's like little things in sports that you don't know about, and you kind of just play for fun.
I fuck with volleyball. I don't know the rules per se, but I go to the beach,
on
top, right? Yo, I want this guy on my team.
Over. Yeah.
They put me like, stay in the front. But like, to me, it's like you play with your own rules on the beach, right? It's different. Like, you could pass it as many times as you want before you have to hit it to the side.
Right.
But the real rules, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't be able to follow.
Is there a fantasy league for like the Olympics?
There's probably a fantasy for not the Olympics, but I'm telling you, every sport probably has some kind of fantasy, and if it's not fantasy, it's definitely some kind of like ways to gamble and shit.
Okay.
Come on, Ron.
Maybe fencing.
The 5 questions.
It's that time of.
Oh, I didn't know this. It's like a segment.
Ooh. When's the last time you did something for the first time?
Damn, I just did shroom edibles.
Ooh.
Like 2 months ago. That was my first time doing it.
And how was the trip?
Yeah. it was like a regular marijuana edible. It wasn't that crazy. Like from what people are telling me, it's supposed to be more of an upper than the marijuana one that kind of like is up and then it brings you back down. And you just kind of like, ooh. The shrooms is just like
Oh.
You just lit. Like, really, like, depending on how much you take. I didn't take too much, you know, it was my first time.
Okay. Would you take it again?
Oh, absolutely. I did it the whole trip. I went to the Costa Rica trip. My group is amazing, bro. Like, the people I go to travel with, like, the whole group is like, yo, we're getting lit. We're all getting lit. Like, it's not like one person gonna be like fucking like the party pooper. Like, party. Nah, you fuck that. Like, and especially you stay in the villa and shit. Like, you fuck that. And then you just there like, oh, like, that's the best shit for me. It's like, yo, all of us are like this. This is fun.
It's lit.
You know what I'm saying?
And when was the last time you changed your toothbrush?
So I just got an electronic one.
Oh, welcome to the club.
Like almost a year ago, and then I just had to change the thing like 2 months ago. Like the top part kind of thing. Like every few months you gotta change it.
You got
So like 2 months ago. I forgot the name of it. It's just the top part. You gotta charge it every like 2 weeks.
Yes. It dies on you mid vibration. Okay.
Do you know what AM and PM stand for?
I do not. So I want to say at more. No, can't even be at morning or
at PM.
No, after no. I didn't even think.
That was mad fun. I'll tell you after the show.
Damn. Ron. So where can... You know what's interesting too? Before we finish, a lot of females are getting into the fantasy sports, and that I commend them about, because you know it's kind of like I thought it was like me thinking about. I thought it was an all guys thing. Like literally the last week, the girls would have their phone there, and you know you're just walking around. You look, they're like into the fantasy.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
so
that's
you hit me up.
insane.
You're the third girl, female in my league. Last year, two like people that were beginners. You know, like one was actually she told me she played before, but one was a beginner. I'm like, you know, I want to teach people. I'm like, yo, like just play with it. And I told them, like, you know, what helps is if you have like your husband or boyfriend, like if you know they can help you with it. I don't mind helping myself, but like that helps. But female in general, again, at work, people have leagues, and female watch sports too. Like literally, you look it up. Like I don't know what the percentage is, but I want to say like 45 to 50% are females. It's not like every sport the viewer is male dominant. It's not.
All right, so where can the females, the guys, the queers, the lesbians, the bisexuals, and
the lemon pepper wings,
lovers.
Where can they find you?
So right now we're on Spotify, iTunes, the Fantasy Sports Feenz podcast. It drops every Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, depending on my schedule, kind of thing. Okay. You can always hit me up on IG or Twitter. The same tag as RonRon654. You know, I'm always I love engaging people as far as like you have any questions, I want to help you. Okay. If you're a beginner, even if you think you know your shit, like I just like engaging.
A second opinion, yeah.
Tell one advice for the fans for these week's games or next week's games, whatever.
There's a bunch of injuries. There's a shitload of injuries right now. So running backs, like use your waiver claims on running backs. Have as much depth at running back as possible. But above all else, stop overthinking shit. Yeah, like straight up and down. It's just a game.
And that's for life too.
And stop overthinking shit. It's not that serious. Like if your player does good, they do good. But like as far as like life or death is no. It's not.
Okay.
Marielle, where can they find you?
They can find me as Something About Marielle on Instagram, YouTube. And you know what? After speaking to you, I need to get back on my Twitter shit. So. On Twitter too. Something about
that's my most engagement is Twitter. To be honest.
Yo, we gotta get back on that.
I'm gonna be one of his trolls.
Jose, where can
you can catch me at Jose _ that's MMMJYC _ on Instagram. You guys can catch us at the Super 4 Bros where we play Warzone on Instagram and YouTube. And yeah, thank you guys. Follow the patreon.com.
The full shop. I can't wait to see you with your sweater on.
Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Ron, for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll see you guys next time.